Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
da liberdade em raios fúlgidos, brilhou no céu da pátria nesse instante. Se o penhor dessa igualdade conseguimos conquistar com braço forte, em teu seio, ó liberdade, desafio nosso peito à própria morte. Ó pátria amada, idolatrada, salve, salve. Brasil, sonho intenso, raio vívido de amor e de esperança, a terra desce. E em teu formoso céu, que joia límpido, a imagem do cruzeiro resplandece. Gigante pela própria natureza, és belo, és forte, impávido colosso, e o teu futuro espelha essa grandeza. Terra adorada, entre outras vilas do Brasil, ó pátria amada, dos filhos deste sol és mãe gentil, pátria amada, Brasil. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly seen. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and of the
Board of Directors, Superintendent Mr. Tully, able administrators, devoted teachers, proud parents, loyal friends, and last but most importantly, soon-to-be graduates of the class of 1999. To celebrate with you accomplished seniors is why we are all gathered at this joyous occasion. As a member of the Sao Paulo clergy community, I am humbly honored to be the first woman minister to invoke a sense of unity and purpose at a graded commencement ceremony. I have come to offer you seniors a charge and a blessing. During your student years here and elsewhere, you have had dozens of teachers. They have fired hundreds of questions at you. Some questions you answered with a raised hand. Other questions you replied to in exams. and still more questions you explored in lengthy papers. It would be nice if the questions would cease with graduation, but they don't. They just become harder and more complex. And I am thrilled to hear that all of you are going on to tackle tough questions in institutions of higher education. But before you go, I would like you to consider one question, perhaps the toughest, most thought-provoking question asked by the greatest of teachers. But before you go, I would like to have you consider one question, perhaps the toughest, most thought-provoking question asked by the greatest of teachers, Jesus of Nazareth, my Savior and Lord. With piercing eyes and pointed words, he inquired, what good would it do to gain the whole world and forfeit your own soul? In other words, what profit is there in winning everything else and losing your very self in the process? In a few minutes, you will graduate from one of the most prestigious schools in South America. Your graduating class is such a privileged group of teens who have received a high-quality, exclusive education. Because of economic and family benefits, you have been catapulted into a slim minority of those, quote, most likely to succeed, unquote. Due to opportunities you will have at the colleges and universities which have accepted you, you stand on the threshold of gaining the whole world. But I ask you tonight, what about your soul? Your soul is that invisible, immortal, unique core of your being which sets you apart from the animals. Your soul is that image-bearing, life-giving breath within you. Your soul constrains your natural desires and seeks out supernatural faith. Your soul is an eternal gift, the rational spiritual seat of all emotion and direction. Your soul reflects your conscience and calls you to a higher ideals of justice, truth, and mutual respect over worldly gain of possessions, power, and position. Graded School has done a fine job of instructing you how to stretch your mind and exercise your body. But as holistic human beings, we are more than bodies with a brain. We are all created beings with a body, mind, and spirit. You know how to train your body and mind and recognize this as important. But what about your soul? This thorny question begs an answer sooner rather than later. I recently heard about an American who graduated in the class of 1969 and was drafted into military service during the Vietnam War. He faithfully served his country as a bomber pilot in that difficult place. One day, he met a gentleman spearheading a relief work to drop food and medical supplies into small mountain villages. He volunteered to fly a humanitarian mission. That was his last flight, as his plane crashed into a mountainside and burst into flames. 30 years later, in the spring of 1999, his family returned to this remote village to dedicate a medical clinic in the name of the young graduate. Often in the process of finding one's soul, one gives up personal desires and actually loses one's life, physically or metaphorically, for the sake of helping others. As you move into college with friends to win, majors to declare, goals to meet, I beg you to listen to your soul. Gaining what this world has to offer is worthless if your heart is void and troubled. Discover your soul so as not to lose it in the pursuit of gain. I leave you with this challenge. Always value character over career. morals over money, conscience over compromise. And for it is in the process of finding your soul that you gain the whole world. Amen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, graduating seniors, friends of Graded School. I would like to make a special welcome to the Reverend Rita K. Lochner Scruton Wilson for being with us this evening. I'd like to welcome also the members of the Board of Directors, our faculty, and our extended family here in Sao Paulo. It's difficult to believe that it's 1 year since we were here to recognize the class of 1998. Certainly during the past 12 months, a huge amount of work has gone on within the classrooms and around our campus. And we are here this evening to honor another group of students who have done commendable work during their time at Graded School. I heard this morning, or early this afternoon, that students thought it would be fun to carry out a prank and released a bunch of chickens on the field. Well, many heads of schools fear for those sorts of events, wondering what is going to happen and what it means. Well, I looked upon this as actually an act of community service, because people from the cafeteria and the maintenance department ran around grabbing the chickens to take them home for the pot. So I looked upon it as yet another act of charity from the students. I wonder what schools will look like in the year 2099, 100 years from now. They'll certainly be different places than they are today. We are completing the last academic year of this century, and in August we'll be beginning a new one that will take us into the year 2000. I'm sure that schools will be very multicultural places. Certainly in the last few decades, people have been moving around this planet at increasing numbers, settling in places like Sao Paulo, blending into the community and bringing their cultural richness with them. And I'm sure that trend is likely to continue. But it poses certain questions about what happens when cultures collide and what is acceptable to one group is not acceptable to another. Many of the conflicts that we have throughout history have been conflicts in value and belief. We have them going on around the world right now. And I often pose questions to history teachers and social studies teachers when I interview them about how they might raise this sort of issue with groups of students. When does toleration end and intolerance begin? I think it's a very difficult question to answer. That's why I ask it of them. I think the answer can be approached in many different ways, but for me it's a very simple answer. It's when a rule is broken. And the rule that I bring is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And I think that if we look upon individuals in the same way that we look upon ourselves, then perhaps we would have less of the conflict around the world than we do today. And I would give that thought to our graduating seniors as they take their place in this world, where they're going to be interacting with people of different languages, cultures, and backgrounds, and to be as sensitive to the needs of others as they are to themselves. There are many people to thank for this ceremony, and it didn't just start a few weeks ago, or in fact a few years ago. At Graded School there are so many people who've contributed towards this evening. Yesterday we honored someone who has been around this school for 39 years. Cordelia, who is retiring at the end of this year, has been a beloved figure in our libraries since 1960. I was 5 years old when she started to work for Graded School, and she's given of herself, and many of the students who will be in this audience will know and love Cordelia very, very much indeed. There are countless teachers who've interacted with their lives in meaningful ways and bring this evening to a finale here at or 1999 graduation. There are a number of individuals, too many to single out, but collectively I think the profession of education has enriched the lives of these students in many, many different ways and given them wonderful opportunities that lie ahead. Bringing together this ceremony is also quite a challenge, and I'm going to recognize an individual who has put in countless hours behind the scenes making this evening possible. And at this point, I would like to recognize Phyllis Clementson for all that she has done for us. Phyllis appears to have heard my introduction and has disappeared into anonymity, where she spends most of her life. She was standing right behind me just before I used her name, and then she slipped away. As soon as she appears, I'll present them to her. I also want to recognize someone else, a student. Last week we had an awards assembly, and one student was unable to be with us then. Someone who I think is a credit to this school, and she is going to be the recipient of the Superintendent's Award. And we normally give this at the awards assembly, but today, because she was not going to be here last week, and the family were also absent in the US, we decided to wait until this evening. The Superintendent's Award is given to a student who has enriched the community in many different ways, and that can be academically or socially, but someone who has been a very visible and positive presence. And this evening, I would like to recognize Susanna Diamond. Now, I say the first person that I wanted to recognize has now appeared again, and I'm going to ask Phyllis Clementson to come up on the stage and be so recognized. At this point, we're going to move into the main body of the program by beginning with some awards. And I'm going to ask Susan Asdourian to come up onto the stage to present the Salutatorian Award. Thank you very, very much, and enjoy your evening.
Good evening, parents, students, and fellow teachers. And good evening to the class of 1999, the last great class of the millennium. That's great. I have the wonderful honor and great honor and great pride tonight to introduce a young woman, a very special young woman who is tonight's, not winner, winner is the wrong word, earner of the Salutatorian Award. And I want to tell you a little bit about Mariana Stockler. I got to know Mariana last year as we began to pull together this school newspaper imprint, but I especially got to know her this year. She was my student in TOK, Theory of Knowledge, and she was the managing editor of our newspaper. And in both capacities, I got to know Mariana in an intellectual, an emotional, and a spiritual sense, I feel. Mariana is ambitious. You cannot get to this point. You can't get 3 diplomas and maintain the kind of GPA that brings you to the second spot in your class at a school like this and not be ambitious. But ambition is a word that can have different connotations. I want to say that Mariana is ambitious in the best possible sense of the word. She's not ambitious only for herself. She's ambitious for the people around her. She's ambitious for her country. She's ambitious for the environment she lives in. And I especially got to see this demonstrated in her capacity as editor of imprint. I would like to take this moment to tell you that, seniors, there's an imprint for you to pick up tonight. It came in about an hour ago. Mariana and Susanna Diamond, the layout editor, after their IB exams, after the awards, after everyone else had gone home, they were here at school putting together this newspaper for you with a lot of senior work and a lot of information about the senior class. Mariana is ambitious in the sense that she believes that there's a better world possible, that idealism is possible, and she's willing to work for it and think about it and use her emotional and intellectual capacities to bring it to be. If that means typing out memos and chasing people down through the freshman hall, if that means taking someone's story and editing it and going through it and improving the grammar, she does it. She's also deeply curious about the world around her. I sat with her one day in the beginning of the year when she interviewed Jabba, one of the maintenance workers here at school, a man who drives the little utility truck, I guess car, through the halls. And it was a pleasure to watch Mariana, and I suppose, to be honest, I was watching her as much as I was listening because my Portuguese is very weak and I was grasping at bits and pieces. And it was a pleasure to watch Mariana because you can see her mind in her face. She's so alive, she's thinking so hard, she's paying such careful attention. Once she had interviewed Jabba and recorded it and got her tape back, she spent hours translating the interview into English so that we could run it in both Portuguese and English, and trying to get the tone just right because she was so impressed with what he had to say, and wanted to communicate his spirit and his sense of the world accurately. I thought that was a fabulous thing, and probably the best piece of work that came in the 3 issues that we put out this year. I would also like to say that Mariana is generous. I felt she gave the school a lot this year. The PTA, thought so too. This year she won the PTA Scholarship Award, which commended her for her community service in the community at large, along with Matt Curry, the other recipient of that award. And she was terribly generous with me. We both had a G block off, and she came and talked to me about the newspaper ostensibly, but I think what she really talked to me about this year was Brazil. When I go home to the States at some point in the future, I know that when I think about Brazil and hope for Brazil, a lot of what I'll be thinking and hoping for will be things Mariana told me over the years and things that Mariana made me feel. Mariana's desire in life right now is to become a journalist. She plans to stay here in São Paulo, go to USP, get her journalism degree, and she said to me very recently that she plans to chase around corrupt politicians and ask them annoying questions. The corrupt politicians better watch out. They're in trouble. So, with no further ado, I would like to present the salutatorian award to Mariana Stockler.
My turn. When I found out I had to give this speech, I figured, what the heck, I'll just go up there and ad-lib something. But you know me, and I changed my mind and actually wrote something down. Oh well, not everybody can be like Arno. So, here it goes. I think the most difficult thing about giving this speech is somehow managing to stay away from the usual cliches. I could very easily stand here and tell you that you're a very bright group of people and that I'm sure that each and every one of you will succeed in your own way and that you should seize every opportunity, for it's better to regret something you did than to regret not doing it, and etc., etc., etc. But I know you, and I know you know all that. And you're such a diverse group that it would be virtually impossible to say anything meaningful about your feelings and thoughts at this moment without making huge generalizations. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is something they teach us not to do here at Graded. So I'll just let a guy called Stephen Sondheim do that for me. You probably have no clue who he is. That's okay, neither did I. Until, well, last night. He wrote the lyrics to Leonard Bernstein's West Side Story. Now, if you don't know who he is, then you're way beyond help, my friends. But my favorite song from West Side Story is called Something's Coming. It is a song about sensing change, and yet not being able to tell what shape this change is going to take. It is also a song of passion for the unexpected and of hope. It is a song about you. But before I read you the words to this song, I'd like you to understand that they're not intended to be good advice. They're not meant to guide you or light your way as you embark on this new stage of your lives. No. They're meant to help you reflect about this moment. Whatever conclusions you arrive at will be unique to each of you, as will be the paths you take from now on. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good, if I can wait. Something's coming and I don't know what it is, but it is going to be great. With a click, with a shock, phone will jingle, the door will knock, open the latch. Around the corner or whistling down the river, come on, deliver to me. Will it be? Yes, it will. Maybe just by holding still, it'll be there. The air is humming, and something great is coming. It's only just out of reach, down the block, on a beach, maybe tonight. Thank you.
Greetings, graded community, and seniors, you have 30 minutes left. Little slow, but you got it. Okay. Tonight I have the immense honor of introducing to you this year's valedictorian for the class of 1999. I know a lot of these speeches, introductory talks start with, it's my honor, I have the great pleasure of, but I want to underscore what a real honor this is for me. A lot of teachers like myself, we hope that our students will be appreciative of our efforts. We hope that they'll become as enthused for our subject material as we are. We hope in the end that they'll make us proud with their achievement. And tonight's valedictorian did all of that. Karandeep Singh was very appreciative. She became very enthused with physics. And of course, she's made me very, very proud with her achievements. But that's not what tickled me pink, not at all. What really got me was that this humble, unassuming, enormously intelligent, more intelligent than I can ever hope to be, young woman came up to me and out of the blue said, "Would you introduce me?" Wow. Of course I'll introduce you, Karen. And thank you very much for honoring me with that. But the honor is really Karen's tonight. She's had a spectacular year. Her class, I will use the cliche, Mariana, they are a spectacular bunch of kids. I mean, we've got a bunch of really outstanding scholars, just amazing athletes, mind-blowing artists, you name it. We've got a bunch of wonderful, caring, compassionate, and charismatic individuals. And Karandeep Singh is on the top. She's one of the best. And in academics, the very best, the number one. And number one doesn't come often in life. I think I was number one once in seating order or something, I don't know. I was lucky, my name starts with a C and there's no A's and B's. But I'm also really honored to be introducing her tonight because this has been a difficult year, a difficult semester for Karandeep, and I know the pain and the uphill struggle this last semester was for her because in my history, I share the same heart-wrenching tragedy. But I won't get into that. We'll keep it an upbeat night. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Karandeep's scholarship, and her teachers and her fellow students know her pretty well, so what I have to say next will ring true, I'm certain. But for you that don't know about her, I want to read some excerpts from my letter of recommendation that I wrote for her last semester when she was applying to college. It was ready-made, and I think it sums up pretty much the scholar that she is. So without further ado, I'm going to take out my granny glasses. The onset of years. and I'm going to read to you what I wrote about her. Karen is certainly an intelligent young woman, but unlike many of her bright peers, she works to her potential, endeavoring to maximize her mastery of the subject material. In explaining a concept or theory on a test or a laboratory write-up, I've often marveled over her clear and laconic explanations. On several occasions, I have substituted on my correction key her eloquent answer for the one I wrote. When I receive a problem set or a laboratory write-up from Karen, the work is laid out in neat and logical format with every step of her work easily discernible. Does that sound like her for those of you who know? Yeah, okay. This is not to say that Karen is some sort of a drone. Her work shows incredible ingenuity, insight, intuition. Her analytical skills and problem-solving strategies are highly developed. And coupled with her focus and her precision, she has been extremely successful in physics. I'm not the only teacher to recognize Karen as a brilliant and conscientious student. Last year, the members of the science and mathematics departments elected to present her with the Rensselaer Medal for Outstanding Achievement in Science and Mathematics. But besides being an excellent math and science student, Karen has often expressed her passion for the liberal arts. In fact, she listed her favorite classes in high school as history and psychology. Kudos for Miller and Mr. Zubcic. Having lived in India, Laos, Germany, and Brazil, it's no wonder that she has cultivated an interest in people and cultures. At our school, she has expressed her sensitivity towards others through volunteer work at a local orphanage and an inner-city school. I believe it is true to characterize Karen as a sensitive young woman with enormous empathy for people of varying nationalities, races, and ethnic backgrounds. And it's most fitting that Karen Singh represent this class's valedictorian, since she embodies so many of the qualities set out by Graded's mission, including multiculturalism, tolerance, and academic excellence. I congratulate you, Karandeep Singh, and please come up and receive a hug. Take a big breath.
Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, have no fear. I hope my speech will contain this magical element called brevity. The implications of me being your speaker tonight, frankly, frighten me. And of course, the implications of you listening to me tonight should frighten you as well. You are, from this moment on, at the mercy of my limited wisdom. Just for the sake of it, shall we try to analyze what we are doing here tonight? What exactly, huh? Here sit in front of you roughly 80 young adults, sitting in their blue oversized sackcloth and caps. Sorry. But they've been waiting for us in the dark recluses of the choir room ever since last year. So today we'll wear them with pride, hopefully. But beyond this reality, when are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Is this a desperate attempt at parental entertainment and catharsis? Or are we towing the desperate line between insanity and boredom? But I'm not bored yet, so that's not right. Or finally becoming, as the Lion King eloquently put it, part of the great circle of life. I hope it's part of all three. I walked into this school 3 years ago, a short, gullible, bookish, and quiet sophomore. And now I'm walking out of this school and this country, a short, gullible, bookish, and quiet senior. So you and I both are wondering, what changed? What is undoubtedly expected here is that my fellow graduates here sitting on the stage in these ridiculous hats and have somehow grown, somehow matured through these so-called formative years of high school. Am I, along with my fellow graduates, ready to go out in the world and face, as the poet E. Cummings said, the dangerous looseness of doom? I can't say that I will provide you with any reassurance, and I think graduation is a part of needing reassurance that we are ready to go and we have the correct judgment, we have the courage to face so-called ravages of college and the life beyond. And this is it. We stand here, and most of my graduates here probably remember that our illustrious English teacher somewhere in the audience said that we have to go through the so-called death and rebirth sequence in order to grow. Was high school our death? Invariably, the answer comes back as, wait, let's hear it. Yes, it was. On a more serious note, a little more cliche, and as we all been saying, we're trying to avoid cliches, but we can't help it. We are being born. And this formal ceremony is here to provide us with closure, not conclusion, but closure to a part of our lives. And since I am in no position to assume the arrogance of a person that has a relevant lesson to impart, I will, if you don't mind, share with you some other beliefs. Beliefs which have been formed and solidified during my sojourn during grade school. And then maybe you can get somewhere from there. Through the ceremony, though the ceremony may be a birth of sorts, the birthing process is an end here, we encounter the pain of birth, of self-discovery, of change continually. The concept, I believe, this is a concept, is an axiom. There's no need to reiterate about this. But the issue, I believe, is not birth, but one how it chooses to face it. Here again, I will use the wisdom of E. Cummings, and I'm going to quote him a lot, don't worry. There are two kinds of people. One is the most people, and most people would consider being born as being catastrophe unmitigated, social revolution. But they might consider it being yanked out of a hyper-exclusively ultra-voluptuous super palazzo and dumped into an incredibly vulgar detention camp swarming with every conceivable species of an undesirable organism. That didn't make much sense, but I like it. So either you can be that most people, but I don't believe that's true tonight, or we can be true human beings, for whom, I quote again, for whom birth is a supremely welcome mystery, the mystery of growing, which happens only whenever we are faithful to ourselves. It is when we have the strength to wear the dangerous looseness of doom and finally becoming. What I also believe, in addition to the idea of E. Cummings, whose words I have shamelessly put in my speech, is that passivity is the greatest crime of all. Each and every one of you, and I'm not saying this to make you feel good, look good, or anything like that, has a certain ability, a certain talent. Use it. I believe in productivity, and even though I admit I don't always follow this precept, especially not in the last month, never cease to strive. Every one of you, the graduates of the class of 1999, has the potential to go out there and forge a new morality for yourselves. A morality of rebellion, of love, of purposeful motion and action, and of the virtues that define you and imbibe you with the joy of existence. I mentioned rebellion, and we talk often of rebellion in our classes every time, but I often want to ask you, I wanted to ask you all this time, but does your rebellion mean anything? Is your defiance merely acting rowdy and immature? Is your defiance merely putting a deceptive film of reality, cigarettes, alcohol, anything like that? Go ahead, defy reality, defy society and its rules, but make sure rebellion means something. I don't know what it should mean. I'm here at the Ultimate Rebellion, as you can see. I've also learned, as I'm leaving graded, the importance of friends, of family. You've all heard it all before, so I won't really elaborate on it. But the essence of it is based on human relationship. Now again, I quote E. Cummings, and I love this poem. Once like a spark, if strangers meet, life begins. Not poor, not rich, only aware. Kind neither nor cruel, only complete. I, not you, not possible, only truthfully. Once as strangers, who deep are most ourselves, touch forever. My speech was my chance to stand up before you and assert my beliefs. I lied when I said I wasn't going to assume an arrogant stance. I did. I was going to lecture people here. But this speech has also given me a chance to say farewell to this school, to this country, and to my friends. I don't know where we're all headed. There's businessmen and women among us, political activists, CIA agents, environmentalists. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen next? I can't provide any assurance that we're going to make it, that we're ready for this world. Are we ready? I don't know. I'm sorry. But farewell and congratulations to the class of 1999. And one last thing, I wanted to do this. I want to quote Buzz Lightyear and say, "To infinity and beyond." Good job.
I guess I'm not the only one frightened here, Kieran. I think you were too. You're afraid of the speech. But anyway, it's very hard for us to sit here tonight and considering how fast this has passed for all of us. I remember sitting in the audience last year and reflecting on how a year from that day would be graduation day for our class, and here it is. So much has happened, so much has changed for all of us. But there's a feeling of there's something left undone. And as we stand here and we look ahead at the new horizon that opens for all of us, it seems, at least to me, that these last 4 years have been written in wave-wet sand. For truly this is our beginning, and as the waves of time slowly wash our high school years away, it also lures us on forward. The sea of opportunity that opens ahead of us beckons us to plunge into the unknown, and to face whatever destiny may have made up for us, whatever it may put as an obstacle or as a gift in front of us. And the only reason I think we so hastily and so blindly accept this challenge is because of the great times we had together so far, the great times we passed as a class. And I think it's this experience and the joy that we gain from one another that enables us to dive headfirst into this unknown future. And I know that no matter how far we may go, no matter what might happen to all of us, we always have this tiny beachhead here in Graded where it all began. And no matter how many waves may hit the sand and wash away the memories we have of these years together, I'm sure all of this will be kept within us, in our hearts and in our souls, all this experience, all this great times we had together. And I set a new challenge for all of us, that we may never lose this unity and warmth that we had for all these years, and that this integrity we have today may be kept forever, and then we may seek one another as we always have so far. And as we embrace this new life, I would like to honor all those who have guided us, helped us, and cheered us on this path. And this year, the class of 99 chose to honor a person who has already been with us for 2 years, since we began our high school. And since then, since the 7th grade, has been not only our teacher, but also a counselor and a great friend of ours. She's a Brazilian who knows the country very well and is not alien from its virtues and its vices, which is not the typical characteristics around. And above all, what we think most special about Adriana Monti is the way that she's always there with an open smile and a warm hug waiting for us. And in this aspect, she's like an older sister for all of us. She's always willing to hear us, but also willing to criticize our dumb mistakes and to fight for us when we're right. And I think she's also been able to maintain the same energy and the same youth our grade has had, but also she's much more conscious of us than any of us of any of her actions, which puts us ahead of us as a good counselor and good friend. And above all, what I think we're most fond of her is the way she has always treated us in a positive way and an equal ground. So in the name of the class of 99, I'd like to call forth, not only as a great teacher, honored teacher, but is a true fan of all of us, Dona Adri.
Puxa, começando assim fica difícil. Good evening, seniors, parents, colleagues, and friends. I will be with the same cliché, Maria. It is an honor to have been chosen by the class of 1999 to serve as their speaker. I have a tremendous affection and respect for this class, and I have known many of them for 5 years now. Over time, I have created a special relationship with these students, and our common history has always been linked by our conversations. Wow, it's hard for me. These conversations have been important to me, and they have always been in Portuguese. For that reason, I would like to address all seniors in the same way in Portuguese. We have a bilingual moment now. You can follow this speech in English on the paper provided in the program, okay? Ok, agora é com vocês. It's better now. Caríssimos seniors, desde nossos primeiros encontros intermediados pela história, sabemos que ela nos permite não apenas acumular conhecimentos enciclopédicos, mas reinterpretar e reinventar mundos. Como esse estudo esteve ainda mais focalizado no Brasil, pudemos juntos reinterpretar e reinventar este país. Coisa curiosa, por vezes até divertida, pois há muito o que fazer, muito o que recriar. Alguns de vocês eu conheci quando estavam no 8º ano e outros encontrei no decorrer do 11º e 12º anos. Vocês que têm presença marcada em minha vida, por que não dizer presença histórica em minha vida, hoje estão aqui reunidos neste momento especial, rito de passagem, começo e fim de histórias. Olhe-os agora como se olhasse um quadro, uma imagem, em que cada um dos elementos tem um significado especial. Bela imagem, não? Imagem homogênea e uniformizada para quem vem de longe, mas para mim, do meu ponto de vista, tendencioso não é de agora, ela é dinâmica e me faz lembrar momentos de desafio, de questionamento e de realização. E o que é o questionamento se não a busca curiosa e por muitas vezes amarga do saber, essa coisa de que, ai que lindo, né, o conhecimento, não é difícil chegar lá, né, é angustiante mesmo, a gente sabe disso. Podemos nos remeter à origem da palavra saber, sapiência. Quando ouvimos a palavra sapiência, que aos ouvidos da língua portuguesa nos lembra sapo, sapiência, sapo, criamos em nossas mentes a imagem daqueles animais verdes, rugosos, por vezes grandes ou até pequenos. E sapos vivem em lagoas, pântanos, e com dieta alimentar estranha. Gostam muito de mosquito. Será que sapiência é coisa de quem vive isolado em laboratórios, com hábitos estranhos, coisa só de sapos? Não. Se for isso, não quero sapiência. Mas talvez a palavra sapiência venha do latim sapore, que deu origem a outras duas palavras, sabor e saber. E se essa origem for verdadeira, sapiência tem que estar ligado àquilo que dá sabor, o que dá sabor à vida, saber a vida. Assim, podemos criar e recriar histórias com sabor, com saber. E este pode ser o grande desafio. E eu pergunto para vocês aqui, há um tempo reservado ao saber? Aqui para vocês e para todos nós, esse tempo termina ou começa? A fase que vocês estão experimentando agora nos remete à sede de quem olha para uma multiplicidade de situações e opções e todas parecendo possíveis de serem vivenciadas. Amanhã mesmo a nossa querida amiga Cris Marques está embarcando para um trabalho super interessante nos Estados Unidos. O Ale volta para o cursinho, a Leslie vai para a Europa. Né? Milhões de coisas acontecendo aí na vida de vocês. Rubem Alves, um escritor e um psicanalista brasileiro, ele nos fala do significado da multiplicidade, que para uns é liberdade de escolha e opção, e para outros é dever. Dever que nos remete àquela velha e boa companheira, a agenda, que, existente ou não, é o que nos lembra a cada dia nossas listas de coisas a fazer. Desde que nós chegamos à escola pequeninos, somos colocados no mundo da agenda. Acordar cedo, dormir tarde só nos fins de semana, e por aí vai, lição de casa, projetos, trabalhos. Difícil só de lembrar, mas que hoje aqui, diante da multiplicidade, dão saudades. E se não dão saudades agora, vão dar algum dia, com certeza. Os projetos, ensaios arduamente construídos, ou não, IB exams, guided coursework, Lustig physics tests, olhados hoje, dão gosto, dão sabor e dão saber. E aquilo que nos parecia dividir mundos, o da agenda e o do sabor, agora com distanciamento sintetizam um ideal de realização. Da minha realização com vocês, agora eu falo de mim aqui, que vai ficar para mim, né? Vou lembrar sempre um bloco C filosófico, em que Raoni, Cris Santos e Denise levaram a classe a debates que fizeram o John Alex inquietar-se e acreditar que Brazilian Social Studies serve para alguma coisa, né, John? Leva mesmo a rebeldia do bloco G, que desde o primeiro texto revoltou-se contra o teste, lembra disso, amor? E tornou-se dali para frente a classe mais resistente, com os meninos do futebol e seu discurso provocador às feministas, ou mesmo femininas da classe, que deixavam esta professora de cabelos em pé. E o bloco B, alegre e divertido, com suas performances de chegada, que só eram superadas em ousadias pelos comentários ecléticos do Arno e suas piadinhas históricas. A viagem para Minas Gerais, onde o patrimônio, segundo a Fê, foi percorrido e o tutu cantado em verso e prosa. Tutu é o tutu de feijão, uma comida típica de Minas. Até tutu. Certamente, meus queridos alunos, cada um de vocês proporcionou momentos especiais de realização para mim, em que o ato de ensinar esteve sempre ligado a desafios e emoções. Mas realizar-se exige lidar com o concreto, nem sempre ao nosso gosto ou ao nosso sabor. Muitas vezes superior ao poder de barrar ou transformar aquilo que não se suporta. Onde é o limite? Até onde se pode justificar a paralisia, a inação? Difícil pergunta para quem assume uma nova etapa da vida rumo a uma profissão, não apenas porque ela está aí, mas porque se acredita que as coisas podem ser diferentes. Vocês sabem que muitas coisas podem ser diferentes, né? O cotidiano nos premia com quadros inacabados, imperfeitos, porque assim são as pessoas, que, no entanto, se movem pelo desejo de construir algo de interessante, algo de belo. Um cirurgião, um advogado, um artesão busca um belo. O cirurgião busca um coração saudável, um advogado busca uma defesa justa, o artesão paciente busca o operante, o que ajuda. Assim, o belo que buscamos é o que nos permite interferir, recriar e deixar marcas. Qual o modo de cada um deixar suas marcas e realizar-se? Procurem construir essas marcas e buscá-las, cada um de sua maneira, que o resultado certamente será especial. E aí algumas palavras finais aqui. Para aqueles que ficam, para aqueles que vão embora e para aqueles que voltam para o seu país de origem, tenham essa escola, Graded School, como uma referência singular. E esse país, eu sou super otimista, vocês sabem disso, né? Esse país com um horizonte. Não me esquecerei de vocês e falo por todos que estão aqui, não nos esqueceremos de vocês. Turma de 99. Parabéns.
Graduates of the class of 1999, parents, faculty, and friends. Mr. Tully said at the opening of his speech It's hard to believe that a year has passed, and so quickly I found myself thinking in the audience that just a short year ago, my daughter was up on a stage very similar to this, and I was behind the microphone feeling a lot of the same kinds of feelings that you parents and friends are feeling out there tonight. What a proud moment. A lot of fond reflections of lives that have passed and are just beginning. And it's such an emotional time for you, I know, and for the graduates, as it was for me, and is tonight, because I think in a lot of ways, faculty see they aren't just your children, parents, they're our children, and we're losing part of us. Now for the real speech. It was just a little over 1 year ago when I was sitting out here on an extension of the stage while being interviewed by my colleagues before coming to Graded. I was taken not only by the depth and the seriousness of the questioning, but also by the very strong positive feelings that the faculty communicated about the quality of Graded. From that meeting, I went on to a meeting with the student council with many of these students up here. And I was once again impressed with how the students asked very meaningful and thoughtful questions. In the hallways after those meetings, I was so surprised by how outgoing and friendly and warm the students of Graded were in greeting me, even though they had never met me before. On my flight back to Switzerland, I thought to myself that Graded truly is a community of winners. The students, the faculty, the parents were committed to providing the best academic, co-curricular, social environment possible for our children. I decided that I very much wanted to join this vibrant community of winners. As I was preparing for this brief time that I have with you this evening, I thought of the following quote about a winning environment. I thought that I would share it with you, graduating seniors, tonight, as a reminder of the kind of mindset that it takes to be a winner. The winner is always part of the answer. The loser is always part of the problem. The winner always has a program. The loser always has an excuse. The winner says, "Let me do it for you." The loser says, "That's not my job." The winner sees an answer for every problem. The loser sees a problem for every answer. The winner sees a green near every sand trap. The loser sees 2 or 3 sand traps near every green. The winner says, "It may be difficult, but it's possible." The loser says, "It may be possible, but it's too difficult." So, be winners. The class is filled with winners. At the risk of neglecting some very important contributors up here on stage, contributors to the success of this class, I wanted to share with you some of the things that I'll remember about this class. I'll remember the outstanding quality of the IB Art Show by Susan S. Dorian's art class. I'll remember the boys basketball team victory in the championship game in the league tournament after they had played that team previously and lost by over 20 points. I'll remember Fernanda as the dynamic spirit of this class. I'll remember the leadership of Matt Curry and Derek Davey for Zombie Zoo, basketball team, and many other things. I'll remember Kelly McCutcheon's performance of Samuel Beckett's Not I. I'll remember the boys soccer team Big Four championship. I'll remember those chickens on campus today, and especially the ones in my office. But most of all, I'll remember the warmth, the enthusiasm, and the vibrancy of this class. The potential for success for all the members of this class is great. I want to share with you a parting quote. Some of you may recognize it from the yearbook, but it's a favorite of mine about the essence of success. Successful is the person who has lived well, who has laughed often and loved much, who has gained the respect of children, who leaves the world better than they found it, who has never lacked appreciation for the earth's beauty, who never fails to look for the best in others or give the best of themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduating class of 1999.
Akiko Asawa. Giannina Rotundo. Alejandra Carvalho. Maria Jimena Garcia Posha.
Mariana Stopper. Renata Correia. Fernanda Oliveira. Leslie Gunn. Mônica Coelho.
Mizuki Haba.
Michele Chaio. Renata Ziger. Elizabeth Lee.
Yuko Terazawa.
Catarina Lu. Cynthia Kettler. Michelle Haywood. Diogo Martins. Alan Rothenberg. Hel Kusumoto.
Natsui Sakaguchi. Ana Maria Blanco. Chiaki Tomita.
Juliana Cerqueira Leite. Marie Yamaguchi.
Jennifer Pasola.
Denise Bergamaschi. Ana Luisa Garfi. Paola Chicarelli.
Kelly McCutcheon. Allison Adams. Kirandeep Singh.
Marcel Yunis. Penteado. Cláudia Cubas. Susana Diamond. Igor Fromer. Silvia Calfá. Cristina Santos. Rebeca Abravanel.
Good luck to you. Okay.
Rafaela Calfá. Marcela Kanner.
Good luck to you.
Dani Dayan. Denise Monge.
Good luck to you.
Amer Iqbal. Josh McKay. Luis Enrique Rivas. Naoki Murakami.
Cristine Marques.
Talia DePeter.
John Caleb. Ivan Signoretti. João Paulo Bicalho Dias. Paulo Bogosian. Daniel Halbright. Marcela Bonicelli. Fernanda Zanini. Raymond Nasser. Eduardo Fidelis Lucchesi. Carlos César Lopes. Marcos Almeida da Mota. Arno Chivar. Stephen Duvigneau.
Ted Jagustin. Alexander Krachik.
Alexandre de Toledo Correia.
Ryan Benberg. Dennis Nye. Kyle Boswell. Mark Reuters. Chris Rogas.
Dirk Van Sway.
Dylan Benberg. Byung-Jin Song. Matt Curry. Brad Cargis. Melissa Sherman. Derek Davey.
Raoni Padui.
Class of 1999, receive the benediction. Please stand. As you go forth to gain the whole world, remember not to lose your own soul. Be of good courage. Hold fast to what is good. Do not return evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the afflicted. Guard the dignity of all people. Strive for truth in all things. And may the blessing of God be with you now and forevermore. Amen.
Oh,